Hello and good afternoon. My name
name
is
is
Prita
Prita
and
and
I'm
I'm
from
from
the
the
Consumer and Investor Office of the
Office of the
Securities
Securities
Commissioner. Welcome to today's InvestSmart Series webinar. Today's webinar is entitled ISaveinPRS, Saving Now for the Life I Want Later. First of all, we would like to thank you for taking your time to be here today. Next, please. We are pleased to have with us today Encik Muhammad Farid from Private Pension Administrator Malaysia, PPA, to present on the topic I Save in PRS, Saving Now for the Life I Want Later. Please allow me to share a brief background on Encik Farid. Encik Farid has more than 14 years of experience in financial services and capital market industry. He is a Sharia registered financial planner and a certified training professional holder. He was also a committee member of MFPC, Malaysian Sharia Financial Planning Development Committee 2017 to 2019. Now, please stay tuned to the end of the session as we'll be having a Q&A session followed by a pop quiz section for all the participants. As mentioned earlier, a total of 1,500 in online vouchers are up for grab. There will be 5 top winners and 20 consolation prizes. Winners will receive an email within 24 hours. Further to this, we would like to invite all the participants to take our survey. The link is shared in the chat window. Next, please. Okay. Please do follow us on our social media platform for useful information on investing and latest update on our initiatives. Now, I would like to pass over to Encik Farid to share his presentation on I Save in PRS, Saving Now for the Life I Want Later. Encik Farid, over to you.
Thank you, Prita. Allow me to share my screen for a while. All right, cool. All right. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well. First and foremost, thank you, InvestSmart, for inviting PPA to speak at this event. It is a pleasure to be here today. And topic for today is I Save in PRS, Saving Now for the Life I Want Later. By the way, I'm Faris. I'm Learning and Engagement Manager of PPA. Today, I'll be sharing on the reality of retirement today, how to design a retirement savings plan with PRS, and the features and benefit of PRS. And feel free, as mentioned by Prita earlier, feel free to ask questions throughout the session, and we'll try my level best to answer the question at the end of the session, as many as possible. Before I proceed with why I want more out of life, allow me to introduce about PPA. PPA, or Private Pension Administrator, is the central administrator for the private retirement schemes industry, PRS, and is a body approved by the Securities Commission Malaysia, SC, under the Capital Market and Services Act 2007, to be the one-stop center on retirement learning and PRS, and services related to PRS members' accounts with any of 8 of our PRS providers. The initiatives that PPA do to grow the industry include marketing campaigns, digitalization via PRS online service, continuous retirement education and financial literacy initiatives, and collaborations with stakeholders such as regulators, corporates, media, and also universities. So let's begin. Basically, all of us, I believe, want a life without worries. All of us want a happy life. With hope in our hearts and the future, we find a secure job today that cope, and today we cope with all this daily grind, balancing career with health and also happiness. Retirement seems exciting with more free times, I suppose, but the burden of finances might leave you with doubt and anxiety. However, what if you could live the life you always wanted? Imagine your days when you retire with the freedom to relax. You can do your traveling, you can spend time with your family, and you can actually catch up with your friends and perhaps explore some interests that you wanted to actually do when you were working, but you have no time to do it. And now it's time for you to do it when you retire. So just imagine. And when you realize that you want more in life, when you retire, you have a choice actually, either to live with just enough to get by, or build life that you want, build life the way that you want it to be when you retire. But before that, let's take a look on the reality of retirement in Malaysia today. We can say that from this statistic, it really draws concern on how prepared Malaysians for retirement, even before this COVID-19 pandemic began. Based on this report can say that 2/3 of EPF member feels that EPF savings can only sustain them for less than 10 years, while 4 out of 5 EPF members do not meet the minimum savings target of 240,000 ringgit set by the EPF board at the age of 55. And what is more worrying is more than half of EPF members aged 54 had less than 50,000 ringgit in their EPF account. However, we can say that COVID-19 has generated more public awareness on the importance of retirement planning. According to money management survey conducted by PPA in 2020, it is said that 80% admitted to rethink their retirement plan, to revisit their retirement objective after this pandemic began. 19.2% want to start saving or return to their usual savings habits once they are more financially stable, and 30% plan to increase their retirement savings in 2021. In conclusion, we can say that COVID-19 has made the need to elevate the financial literacy level among Malaysians become more crucial than ever. While some of us might have savings in mandatory schemes, it may be sufficient for the lifestyle we always had, as you see in the report I showed earlier. Take a look at this working life cycle. With the increased average life expectancy of Malaysians at 72.6 years for males and 77 years for female, you will need to save more during your working years, which is what also we call as wealth accumulation phase, to ensure that your retirement savings are sufficient during the wealth decumulation phase or the retirement years. And how long is you need to ensure that your savings are sufficient to sustain for at least 15 to 20 years after retirement. So, what's the formula? There's no magic number in this. However, many studies and reports recommend that having at least 2/3 or 67% of your last drawn income to maintain your current standard of living when you're working, and you can bring your current standard living condition when you're working to the retirement years. For example, if your expected last drawn salary at the age of 60 is 9,000 ringgit, and adequate retirement income will be somewhere around 6,000 ringgit every month. And to achieve this benchmark, PPA suggests saving a minimum of 1/3 of your monthly salary. If you're working in the private sector, you can assume that you are already contributing 11% of your monthly salary to a mandatory scheme, while your employer contributes a minimum of 12%, bringing mandatory contribution to a total of 23%. As such, you will only need an additional of 10% of your monthly income to be saved in the private retirement schemes or PRS. However, I believe that the amount that you need for each person needs for retirement may vary. It depends on each individual lifestyle. So I would suggest you to use PPA retirement calculator as your guide to find out how much that you actually need to save for your retirement that you want. For example, in this case, let's say in this case study, if you are 40 years old and your current salary is 8,000 ringgit and you already contributed your accumulative savings in EPF is 330,000 and you have yet to save in PRS. So when you calculate this based on this case study, you can see that based on this case study, he or she will need 2.05 million for his or her retirement from age 60 until age 80. However, based from his mandatory contribution in EPF, it is projected that he will be only having about less than 1.6 million. And you can see from the screen, there's a gap of retirement saving gaps of 400,000. And one of the solution is to actually save an additional of 10% in private retirement scheme every month, and to close the retirement savings gap. And from this case study, not only we learn how to use this calculator, but you can also witness that it's actually doable to close this inadequate retirement saving gap by saving more in PRS, no matter how old you are today. In fact, there is a golden rule when it comes to retirement saving. The best time to start is as early as possible. Let's take a look what will be the result if you start earlier. From these charts, we can see some savings gap that you need to close even with your contribution in mandatory EPF savings. And in fact, even if you began as early as 25 or 30 years old to start saving in some voluntary scheme, which is PRS. The difference is, the earlier you start with PRS, the smaller the percentage you need to set aside. These give you a more sense of control over your future, as what PPA always highlighted in our campaigns last year. We always want you to, if you cannot start at 10%, what you need to do is start small, start now. I repeat, start small, start now. And I would also like in this session to share some tips that you could consider in planning for your retirement with PRS. First, start early. The element of compounding in retirement savings means interest and earning are added to your contribution over your period of investing until retirement. Give your PRS contribution time to grow and tap on the power of compounding on your contribution amount. For example, based on this table, based on the assumption, by contributing 100 ringgit every month, starting as early as 25 years old, your total contribution with compounding effect at the age of 60 is almost equivalent with if you contribute 200 ringgit per month and you start at the age of 35 years old. In fact, as also shown in this table, if you start earlier, your total savings commitment is much more lesser compared if you start in a later stage of your life even with higher monthly savings contribution. Tips number 2, pay your future first. By paying your future first, it means that you are basically socking away some of your cash for retirement funds. Set aside a portion of your income to save first. It is very important, and not to save whatever is left from your expenses. There are some cases that in the end, there's no amount left for you to save for your retirement towards the end of your month. Think of retirement savings as your first bill that you must commit every month, and this can help you. The third tip is contribute regularly on a monthly basis. Save regularly for your retirement. It's more affordable compared to lump sum investment or annual contribution. Contributing monthly will indirectly instills an unconscious saving habit, and you will gain benefit from dollar cost averaging strategy. And for your information, if you want to actually get more knowledge on retirement and PRS, what you can do, you can also visit PPA's PRS Live website. Here's a little teaser of what PRS Live website is all about.
Welcome to PPA's PRS Live. Find articles, news, infographics, videos, and podcasts. Gain insights on reviews, outlook, plus spotlights promotions. Subscribe now.
Okay, subscribe now. Stay connected with PPA and to receive all the updates on events and latest informations about the private retirement schemes, and subscribe to learn more about retirement planning. So I will leave this slide for a few seconds for you to scan the QR code. And once you have scanned the QR code and subscribed with us, maybe some of you can actually notify me via the chat. So I'll give you some seconds to actually scan the QR code. Okay, all right. Okay, now let's discuss on PRS, the main topic for today. In this chapter, we will understand the framework and features of the PRS, the benefits and flexibilities of PRS, and things that you need to do before you save in PRS. So what is PRS? PRS briefly is a voluntary long-term savings and investment scheme designed to help you to save more for your retirement. Each PRS offers a choice of providers and retirement funds, from which you may choose to invest based on your own needs, goals, and risk appetite. PRS are intended to enhance long-term returns within a well-structured and regulated framework. Besides Security Commission Malaysia, as the regulator of PRS industry, there are 4 other key parties, which is PPA as the central administrator, PRS providers as the licensed company to offer and manage PRS funds. PRS consultants and distributors, meanwhile, are the representative for the PRS providers to sell, market, and distribute the PRS. And also, one of fifth key party is scheme trustee, where the function of these scheme trustees are to more actively monitor PRS funds and to safeguard the interests of the PRS members. The PRS is an initiative under the Capital Market Master Plan 2 or CMP2 to accelerate the development of the private pension industry. The introduction of this scheme is expected to contribute towards establishing the third pillar, or better known as voluntary pillar, as part of the Malaysian pension and retirement landscape. And how PRS works? In PRS, a contributor may choose to make contribution to PRS providers either directly to the provider via PRS online service or via PRS distributors and consultants. Once they have successfully enrolled to PRS, they become a PRS member and they will be automatically given a PRS account. PPA, as the central administrator, will be administering this account, and under of this each PRS provider, PRS members can choose to invest either in default option or self-selected funds. Just like any other collective investment schemes, such as unit trusts, fund contributions will be managed by a fund manager to generate investment returns for the PRS members. PRS is also designed for long-term retirement savings. Therefore, contributions in PRS will be maintained in 2 separate sub-accounts. 70% in sub-account A, where members must be at least 55 years old to withdraw, and 30% in sub-account B, where withdrawal can be made in part or in full for pre-withdrawal, housing, and also healthcare. Here's the list of licensed PRS providers. You can see here, you can choose any of these 8 PRS providers to open and save in PRS. And these 8 PRS providers provide a total choice of 58 PRS funds available in both Sharia and conventional scheme. Selection of funds actually depends on whether you have specified your preferred PRS funds or not. If you are familiar with any specific fund, you can opt for self-selected fund. However, if you are unsure, you may want to choose default option fund, where your savings will be allocated based on your age grouping. For example, as you see here, this is one of the special default option is one of the special features that it makes investing for your retirement saving easy, because the funds are packaged with the mix of underlying asset class that provide risk and returns based on individual age group. For example, if you are 45 years old and you opt for default option fund, your contribution will be allocated into growth fund, where this fund will focus more on growing the portfolio is steadily, and it will invest mainly in growth-seeking assets. One of the unique features of PRS Default Option Fund is Auto Glide Path. What is Auto Glide Path? This is the path where a fund manager or the fund managers automatically switch members' fund from growth fund to moderate fund to conservative fund as you approach the next age group. This is to ensure capital preservation as you approach your retirement. As PRS members, you also may choose to contribute to one or more PRS providers. And under each of these PRS provider, you can also further choose to invest into one or more funds. PRS also offer contributors the choice and flexibility to move your money between PRS funds. You can either switch or also transfer your funds within the PRS funds. What is the difference between switching and transfer? Switching is when you shift your money from your existing PRS funds to another PRS funds of the same PRS providers, while transfer is when you shift your existing PRS funds to another PRS funds of another PRS provider. However, transfer can only be instructed after the first year of subscription to the PRS. PRS members are also able to make regular withdrawal or lump sum withdrawal. In fact, one of the most common questions received during our webinars is, in what circumstances can a PRS member withdraw? First, you can make full withdrawal when you reach age of 55 or in the event of PRS member's death, or perhaps a PRS member want to do a permanent departure from Malaysia. In the event of, and also in the event of PTD or permanent total disablement, serious disease, and also mental disability. Pre-retirement, in fact, pre-retirement withdrawal from sub-account B is also allowed. And just to share with all of you, effective 15 March last year, PRS members can make pre-retirement withdrawals from sub-account B for the purposes of housing and healthcare without any tax penalty by the Inland Revenue. And also, one of the good news, PRS, one of the benefit of PRS is PRS members also can enjoy personal tax relief of up to 3,000 ringgit. This tax relief was specially introduced to encourage you to save more for your retirement. And this table provides an illustration of the tax saving amount you could enjoy from your annual 3,000 PRS contributions. And under Budget 2020 announced last year, PRS tax relief has been extended until 2025. This, I believe, is a positive move by the government that views the people preparedness towards retirement well-being as part of national priority. At this point, I'd like you to turn your attention to the PRS fund performance. Here is the comparison of top PRS fund performance according to each fund categories until updated July 2021. While I guess past performance does not guarantee future returns, the performance of PRS funds has been resilient over the long term despite recent market movement. For example, top fund performance for non-core Sharia recorded at 73.18% cumulative return for 5 years, with funds annualized return is at 11.6%. What's the value proposition of PRS? So ISaveinPRS, basically because it is designed for retirement. PRS was established with the main aim of helping you to save more for your retirement. It is also affordable, where you may open an account and save with a minimum contribution of 100 ringgit via PRS online service developed by PPA. It is flexible. You have a choice of 8 PRS providers and 58 PRS funds, both in conventional and Sharia compliant funds, to match any of your unique investment profile and risk appetites. You can also, as I mentioned, enjoy up to 3,000 ringgit personal tax relief annually. You have PPA as a central administrator. And PRS is regulated by the Securities Commission Malaysia, and these schemes are safeguarded by the scheme trustee. But before enrolling in PRS, here are 5 things that you need to do. First, you need to assess your risk tolerance to determine which type of investor you are. Perhaps you are either aggressive, moderate, or conservative, or others. Next, do your research before you pick your PRS funds. For more information on the funds, what you can do is please read the PRS provider's disclosure document and product highlight sheets to have a better understanding of the funds. Number 3, inquire. Make sure you inquire the fees and charges for your comparison purposes. Or what you can do is simply visit PPA's website to see the fees and charges by each of the PRS provider. This is the most important, license. Normally, when a PRS consultant approach you, they will give you a name card. However, make sure you deal only with PRS consultant that distributors licensed by SC. Make sure you ask for their PRS consultant identification card before you can actually proceed with the consultation process. Last but not least, receipt. What is receipt? Ensure that all payments are directly made via licensed providers with proof of contributions. Since this is a no cash transaction, make sure there's no cash transaction or payment being made to the consultant. Right? Any payment again has to be made directly by the PRS provider with proof of contribution. Another important trait that we want to share with you of an informed investors is you are able to distinguish between legit and scam investment. There are lots of red alerts of scams available, but here are some of the most common ones. The first red alert is if the investment is, if they say the investment is risk-free with guaranteed high return, you have to be worried of those who promise this thing. Number 2, unregistered investment. A lot of fraud nowadays revolve around unregistered and licensed securities. Even some of them claim they are registered with the SSM or Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia. To make sure you check with SC and Bank Negara if any of these schemes are registered. Number 3, consistently high return. This is the most common one. Investment that give unusual high returns are basically suspicious. Any investment, even at the most stable one, experience downtime every now and then, experience fluctuation every now and then. Complex strategies. Okay, ask the seller, what is the investment strategies? If he or she cannot explain how this investment return is generated, I guess you have to avoid them. Invest only investment that you fully understand. Number 5, lack of documentation. Avoid investing in product with lack of proper documentation. For instance, if they are proposing something, please find not commit and invest immediately. Take your time to make an informed decision about your investment. Moreover, after all, it's your own investment. And number 7 is recovery tactic. If your investment is losing money, the fraudster may promise you to actually get back the money, but you need to top up. So I guess this is one of the some of the common warning signs of scams. And how to protect yourself against this scam? You can actually, let me share you 5 things that you can do. First, you need to be very, very patient. Don't overwhelm with the desire to get rich quick. Number 2, beware of investment that offer guaranteed high returns, and especially at no risk. Number 3, make sure the one that approach you is licensed to sell you the investment product. Number 4, only invest in investment products that are regulated by SC and Bank Negara Malaysia. And number 5, be financially literate. Always equip and improve ourselves with the knowledge and skills in investing. Do your research, and if need, get advice from any of the licensed financial professionals out there. Now that you have learned about the features and benefits of PRS, plus also you have learned about your rights and responsibility as investors, it's time to start your PRS. To open a PRS account, you can either go direct to the providers, or you can you can deal via their consultants and distributors, or you can go to PRS Online Service. PRS Online Service is developed by PPA and is a hassle-free and convenient service for you to open and manage your PRS account anytime, anywhere. You can stay connected and save more in PRS, and you will get instant access on any of your smart devices. It can be accessible by your handphone, or your tablet, and by your laptop. And to enroll with PRS using PRS Online Service, what you need to do is just follow this 6 steps. And I would like to share with you, that currently PPA is running #ISaveinPRS Trades Contest. To understand more about this contest, let's watch this video.
ISaveinPRS Treats Contest is here. Monthly and grand PRS treats await new enrollees who save in PRS via PPA's PRS online enrollment service. Treat yourself now.
So, in ISaveinPRS Trades Contest, what you need to do is enroll via PRS Online Service from as low as RM100, and you will stand to receive monthly PRS treats worth RM100 in PRS units and grand PRS treats worth 6,000 ringgit. And what if you are already a member of PRS? If you are already a PRS member, you can refer a friend or family member and get rewarded with 50 ringgit PRS units plus 50 ringgit Touch and Go e-wallet reload pin if they are selected as one of the monthly PRS treats recipient. If you want to know more about this contest, visit our website at www.ppa.my. Just to share with you that we are almost towards the end of this talk, but before we conclude, please watch this final video.
I realized that I want more out of my life when I retire. That's why I save in PRS now, to live the life I want later. Make yours a reality too.
To conclude, I save in PRS now to have sustainable living for at least 15 to 20 years after retirement. I save in PRS now to have 2/3 of my last drawn salary to maintain my lifestyle during retirement. I save in PRS now to have choices of PRS providers and funds. I save in PRS now so I can enjoy RM3,000 personal tax relief. I save in PRS now because PRS is regulated by SC and safeguarded by scheme trustees. I save in PRS now because PPA as central administrator. And I save in PRS now, treat myself with I save in PRS treat contest. In a nutshell, I save in PRS now to live the life I want later. So, I'm asking you now to make yours a reality too. Now we have come to the end of today's talk. On behalf of PPA, we'd like to thank InvestSmart SE for inviting us for this session. However, before we proceed to the Q&A session, please take some time, ladies and gentlemen, to like us on Facebook. Just scan the QR code shown on the screen right now. So I will give you 5 seconds to actually scan the QR code and like us on Facebook. All right. Okay. And last but not least, visit our website for more information on PRS. And since I believe all of you have subscribed to our PRS live website, visit them regularly. Make sure you visit them regularly to get new insights, articles, and latest news related to retirement planning and PRS savings. Plus, you can watch out the next dates for our next webinar. And don't forget to like and follow us in Facebook. Yeah. With that, I pass this session to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Encik Farid, for the very informative session. So now we'll just take some time to allow you to pick a few questions. So there is actually a few questions on Slido, Encik Farid, which you like to take?
Yep. Okay. All right. Question from Mr. Michael Lim. Is there usually a switching and transfer fees? Yes. Thank you, Mr. Michael. There is switching and transfer fees. There's in fact, but it differ from one provider to another. For switching, there are some providers are providing zero switching fees, and some of them are giving charge, and there are different condition for switching and transfer fees. So for you to what you can do is you can go to our website, ppa.my, and you can see the difference of the fees, switching fees and transfer fees charged by each of the provider. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Okay. Question. Next question is, why should I invest in PRS when I have EPF? As I mentioned earlier, based on report and reports shows that a person need 2/3, to have 2/3 of their last drawn salary to maintain the standard of living when they retire. And in order to do that, you need to save 1/3. Well, EPF will provide the 23% of your contribution minimum, depending on your works. However, it is suggested that you need to save 1/3. So let's say 23%, you still have a balance of 10%. And this is actually where you need to save additionally for your retirement needs. And that's why we suggest you to actually save in PRS. And I have to state here that PRS is actually not being developed to compete with EPF. In fact, PRS is actually being launched to actually complement whatever savings that a person has made in their EPF. Thank you. Right. Can I open an account for my kid before they age 18? Thank you very much for the questions. This is the answer. Basically, the eligibility age is 18 years old and above. Therefore, if you can open an account for your kid once he or she reach 18 years old. Okay. The question is, account A withdrawal, no penalty, 8% for housing and health. Okay, first and foremost, for housing and health, it is from sub-account B, not sub-account A. And there is no penalty charge on any withdrawal on housing and health. Thank you. All right. Okay, I think we have asked all the Rita. So far, all the questions have been asked. Hold on, let me check the chat. Okay, any charges for contribution can we? All right. Okay, there's a question from okay, Miss Nicole. Any charge for contribution every month? Can we do standing instruction or monthly charge to debit and credit and debit card? Okay. Just to let you know that in terms of contribution for your contribution, the charges actually depends on different providers. There are perhaps sales charge charged by different providers, and you can see all these charges from PPA website. However, there's no PPA's management fee charged during your top up. And can we do standing instruction? yes, you can. Please consult with your consultants or your provider on it. And credit and debit cards, that one you need to check with your providers. Some of the providers, they provide credit and debit card transfer. Some of them they not. So please check with your respective PRS providers. Okay, Prita?
Yeah, perhaps one last question we have on the chat. Can we engage with more than one service provider at a time?
Oh, okay. Yes, we can. In fact, you can engage with more than one PRS providers, and with the same provider, you can also invest in more than one PRS funds. You can do that, and that's where PPA, as a central administrator, will actually manage your centralized PRS account. If you want to actually see all your balance, for example, you can actually just go to your PRS members portal, and you can see all your investment or savings that you have contributed with each of the respective PRS providers.
Okay, so I think we have covered all the questions. So thank you very much, Encik Farid, for the Q&A session. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you Encik Farid for speaking in our webinar. Don't forget, if you wish to watch the webinar again, we will upload the webinar on our YouTube channel in due course. Do check out our previous webinar sessions on our YouTube channel as well. I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to always check the SE's investor alert list before investing. The SE alert list contains the list of unauthorized website, investment products, companies, and individuals. Also, remember to never deposit money into individual bank accounts, even if they're licensed or registered with authorities. With that, we have come to an end to our webinar. Stay home and stay safe, everyone. And if you need to be out, always maintain physical distancing. Hope to see everyone again in our next webinar. Thank you.